Good morning, everyone. It's March 4th, and today's prompt on the Jelly Arts March Printing Challenge is hearts. So I thought I'd record this a bit differently, and so you could see me doing an explanation of my process as I'm doing it, instead of doing a voiceover later, which always takes up more time. So I have a square gel plate. You can see I never clean my gel plates. It's whatever's on there is on there. And I love having all these layers pull in future pulls. So you see all these different characters, parts of a leaf, parts of a face, parts of a flower, different color combinations kind of just pulling through, which I love. It gives a nice grunge effect. So I thought I'd do a couple of different techniques using distress inks, the re-inkers, and I like playing with different media on my gel plate because that is how I discover what I like and don't like, what works, what doesn't work for my tastes. And as you can see, this is going to bead up quite a bit. So we'll just take a simple background pull first so you can see what that beaded up effect looks like. And I might change course midway and add other kinds of things like acrylic inks or distress inks through the distress ink pads, or I might just use acrylic paints. We'll see how it goes. But this is usually a typical gel printing session. Look at that. Isn't that beautiful just by itself? So the first layer is down, and now I want to do some pattern making on it. So I've got my white acrylic paint here, and I'm just going to take a blob of that. This is just some Artist's Loft, and you can see how that ink was still there. You couldn't see it on the plate, but it was still there. Now this is drying up. It's not very viscous. I do need it to be a better consistency. So I'm just going to roll on some more of that white onto the gel plate, making sure I lift my brayer as I go. Roll off the excess. I have some backgrounds here. I'm just going to use these. This stencil is from Jelly Arts also. And I'm just going to place my paper right over, press down. The amount of pressure I usually put is about the kind of pressure you would put on your thigh to give yourself a nice massage. That's how I like to think of it. It's very therapeutic to do this with my hands. And then I'm just going to see what happened. And you have hearts. Isn't that cool? And then you also have that, which is called a ghost print. So you could use any other sheet of paper and then pull that as a secondary print. I actually think this is not paper. I think I might just have, so I keep all my whites stacked together. This to me feels like it's craft plastic from graphics. Yes, indeed it is. And see, that's going to pull a beautiful print too. And it has those under layers of blue, which I didn't use at all. So you can see how cool that effect is from not having cleaned the gel plate. It's just a grunge, nice grunge looking effect. Okay, so we had used one of these. I forgot which one. I think it was candied apple. So let's use picked raspberry this time. And we'll keep building on some layers because I want to show you some other cool tricks. So this one, rolling on like before. We'll take numbers this time. And I'm just going to add to this print that was on the plastic over the hearts. Get some nice stencil effect. So that's building your layer. So it's just very, very mild, not a big deal. So if you want a clearer impression, you might want to go back in, do a second print and see if something happens. If it doesn't, we'll just keep going, just keep building layers. So that kind of blends out everything. Now you can kind of see the heart still a bit, but it also adds some numbers, which you can see at a tilted angle, which I think is pretty cool. But if we did a different color, say if we got Peacock Blue Re-Inker, this is from Ink on 3. I'm just playing here, guys. There's no method to this madness. It's just fun and experimentation, and it's morning, and this is my morning art session. So do not judge how I look. Do not judge what I'm doing. Do not judge that there is no process. This is my process. And I encourage you to try it sometime, because really the coolest things happen when you let go of any preconceived notions and just try something new. I'm going to put this back on, use the same sheet, see if the hearts can plop back in and have a nice look at that. Oh, that just makes my heart so happy. So we've got 3 layers in and I like it. And then if we were to take this off, and let's see if it's still wet. Okay, so maybe we can put a print on this on the first one that we did. So our ghost print goes on this one. Very grungy, but I don't like that at all. So let's see if we can play with that a bit more. I'm gonna add some, let's see, what can I add? Maybe some, I think I'll go with some Quiche Flamingo, which is the newest Distress Ink reinker that I got in my stash. Ooh, it's gonna mix in with the blue from Ink on 3 because that was on my brayer. Let's see what that does. It'll probably make a really cool purple. And we're gonna take some musical notes and add them here to the corner. Basically what I'm doing is lifting off the stencil print on the corners here so that I'm left with the actual, see how cool that looks? I just love that you can use bits and blobs. You don't have to press the whole thing down to get a really, really cool effect. Musical hearts. And then lift that up. And then I'm just building a background here, so don't worry about, these are just layers that are going on right now. And I'm gonna make sure I clean my brayer this time really well because I don't, in my next layer, want any of that blue to show up. So I'm just gonna keep rolling my brayer on this sheet, which I called my brayer sheet, and lift this off. Now this is really, really, really grungy, and because I used similar colors, it's all kind of a hot mess. So let's see if this can be rescued. And for rescuing, I usually like to go to either black or white. Black would be too dark on this print. It's already too dark. It's still gonna get some blue because this is not clean enough and that ink is still wet, and I don't like to clean my gel plate. There are instances where you want to clean your gel plate like this one, but I'm too lazy to do it, so I'm just gonna go for it. We'll get a light blue and that's fine. So just gonna keep rolling it, roll the excess. This is actually kind of a Payne's gray mixed in with a little bit of blue. It's a beautiful color. It's gonna be like a gloomy heart. Gonna go back in there, mask everything off, get some nice hearts, and rescue that print that was looking like it wasn't going anywhere. So now you can see some of the layers from under. You can see the musical notes. You can see a bit of the earlier hearts. It's all kind of in there. It's pretty cool. Take that off. I don't have a use for it on any of the existing prints that I made, but I can always pull another print over here on this one. And I've got some hearts here. I'm just gonna get prints on the edges over there and some more over here. Cover this up wherever I don't have any paint. It's still a grungy effect, but it doesn't leave any big white spots. That's all I'm trying to do, just covering up the big white spots over there, so it all kind of feels a bit more seamless. Yeah, so this is another background you have. So we've got this, which I love, which is probably the cleanest, this, which is grungy and really, really well layered, and then this, which is also grungy and could do with some help. So for this one, I'm gonna get a new brayer. because this one has all of these layers which are going to interfere. So I got myself a different brayer. Again, this brayer is not the cleanest or the best. It even has like some textures on it, which is fine. I'm just going to use some white. Roll that on the gel plate. It's still going to be gray because I haven't pulled this clean. So now it's time for a pull to clean my gel plate. So I'm going to use some deli paper that I have over here. It's basically like tissue paper. I'll clean my gel plate off. If the wet ink, if there's any wet ink still remnant, comes off, or it'll come off in the next pull. Whatever's not actively wet is going to come off in the next pull, but for now this is good enough. I'll use some more. I'm going to get another white. See, this is what happens. As I'm doing my play in the morning, so you're getting a very raw look at how unplanned my play with my gel plate is. So I've got some white, looks more like white, this one. And I'm just going to use one of these big hearts that I have here. Put that in the middle, which is going to act as my mask. And press down really, really well. So the sides are the ones that are going to get covered up by all the white, new white coat that I just put on the plate. I'm really pressing firmly because I do want that middle mask to work effectively. We shall see if that actually did anything or didn't. It did. And I sound surprised because I wasn't expecting much of that white to show. So I want this to be even more dull, even more white. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to roll on some more white. And now if I had the alignment guide that Jelly Arts just came out with in my hands right now, I would be getting some amazing help layering these pieces. But I have my make to solution, so place my heart back where it was. Hopefully I'll place this back where it was. If I don't, then I don't, I guess. We'll see what happens. It'll still be cool, I think. Wow, 13 minutes in. Time just flies when you're having fun. I think I did it. Look at that. See? It's got all those fun layers and got nice grunge on the sides, which I always like to fill up as best as I can. If I can't, I will go in with a color pencil later and color it in. Just peel this out. You could, if you want, get half of it on this side, see if it pulls. If the paint is still wet, it will. A little bit did. And then you put a little bit on this side. There you have it. 3 completely different prints. Less than 15 minutes. Fun, right? Well, I hope you participate in the challenge and come up with something fun too, and I will post final pictures of this very soon on my social media feeds. Thanks so much for watching.